Good evening. Welcome, class of 2015, and welcome, parents. I'm Alka Howard. I'm the Director of Student Services at Lake Braddock Secondary. This is the post-secondary planning night. We're really excited to have you here. I want to start out by introducing the staff that's here tonight to work with us. And I'll start with the counselors. Mr. Hackbarth, if you would just stand as I call your name. Ms. Brown. Ms. Trineri, Ms. Cashman, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Ramatoski, Mr. Rinaldo, Ms. Carrera, Ms. Samick Smith, Ms. Naughton, and on the stage, I have Ms. Morehouse, who's going to be talking about the transcript process a little bit later on. Stand for me, please. Our awesome Ms. Morehouse. And Ms. Edwards, our Career Center Specialist. Okay, so tonight we have a jam-packed program for you. We're going to be talking, Ms. Edwards is going to be talking about family connection. You're going to get a little bit of information on financial aid resources, on transcript process, college deadlines. You're going to have breakout sessions with your counselors, and that information would be posted on the last slide as to where you'll go based on your last name with your counselor. And the counselors will be meeting with you to discuss the individual post-secondary planning process later on tonight. I also want to, before I turn this over to Ms. Edwards, thank our coordinators, Ms. Carrera, Mr. Jackson, and Ms. Edwards for coordinating the 12th grade parents student night. They did a lot of work to get this ready for you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So, you're seniors. With that comes responsibility. So tonight what we're going to try to do is give you all the information to help you make your post-secondary planning process. We hope that will not cause stress. Some of you will go home and feel very stressed, and we don't want that. There are resources here in this building. My colleagues, the school counselors, Ms. Morehouse, and myself will help you through this process. We can't come to you, you have to come to us, because there's a lot more of you. So please don't wait till the last minute. If you need help after tonight, come and see us, and we will try to work anything out to help you through this process. The first thing I want to go over is family connections. Parents, every child in this school has a Blackboard account, and with that Blackboard account comes family connections. You as a parent can also gain a Blackboard account, but you have to do the process by going through completing the online at home, and then when you've done that, you will be given an access code and have to come into our school library during school hours to prove your identification for the safety of your child. So there was a handout provided in the back with that information. If you have any trouble, you're welcome to call me. I'll be glad to help you through this. But I strongly urge parents to be on Blackboard so you can see everything that's going on. Yes, you will get lots of emails from Judith Edwards. I'm not the spam lady, but I'm trying to give you the information as quickly as I get it. If I get it at 4:05 and I'm here at 4:06, you're going to get it. Because, for example, we had something last week regarding a military financial aid program with the GI Bill. I sent it out immediately when I got it, and I had 3 parents email me, it's already full. They have to understand it was sent to the whole county. So I got it to you as soon as I could, but there's only limited space at Fort Belvoir for the programs. So I hope you understand I'm not trying to send emails. I'm trying to just get you the information as quickly as possible. Also on the family connections, the seniors, there's a game plan and career interest profiler. If you recall, when you were 10th graders, we did the do what you are. You might want to go back and review what you answered the questions. It might give you some insight as to careers suited to your personality. So, on Family Connections, we have a new tool this year that all the seniors have heard about it were talked about it at the Students' Rights and Responsibilities program, and that's X2 Vault. That is in the top left-hand corner. That is where they can record their service hours. So if they're going for the Civic Seal, which requires 50 community service hours, you can put all your information in there, and that will store and keep it all for your government teachers. Also in that section of the X2 Vault will be volunteer opportunities. So that way they can be approved and verified. So students really start looking at that and making sure your information is correct there. Also on the home page will be what's new, current information, current emails that I've sent, or a college that's decided to come, or a scholarship. So you'll see messages from there. And this is a great tool to keep up with new coming things that I put on. On the next page is, if you go to the college tab, this is the one we're going to be using a lot this year. Under colleges I'm thinking about, if you could put the colleges that you're thinking about applying to, this would be most helpful, because if you have JMU, UVA, UNC Chapel Hill, when the colleges come to me to schedule a college visit, you will get an email from your school counselor telling you they're coming to visit, and you can sign up for those visits. We have over 120 schools registered today, as of today. So we're very privileged here at Lake Braddock that all the schools want to come to us, and sometimes this gives the students one-on-one opportunities to talk and advocate for themselves with the person who is actually making the decision if they're going to get into that school. Little hint, when the representative from Virginia Tech comes, he gives the kids his personal phone number if they need any help during the process of applying. Many of the schools, UVA is coming on Monday during Broom Block, and she will talk about the essay. The most toughest part of the college admissions process is writing that essay. Well, Janine Milan will give kids some insight as to what a good essay is all about. So kids, I tried to schedule as many of these during Broom Block so you could participate. Some of them I could not because of the school's availability of when they could come, but I urge your child and kids, students, to sign up for these visits because they will be beneficial. And the list, if you see to the right, it says view all upcoming college visits. You will find a list of 120, and that's where you can sign up. They'll just say, sign me up, and you sign up. The scattergrams is in the next under college research to the right. That's where they show your child with their SAT score, their GPA, and it shows them on the plot. It's a circle where they fit on the grid. So if you're in the green boxes, those are the students that were admitted last year from Lake Braddock. Your chances of getting into that school are higher. But if you're in the diamonds, blue diamonds, that's a wait list area. If you're in the X zone, that's, I'm afraid, those students were not admitted. The last but not least is under the scholarship and money. The scholarship list, as you see, it's the very bottom left corner. That list, students can apply for scholarships as of today. Even if you haven't been admitted to a college, you haven't applied to a college, there are all kinds of scholarships available to students. And if you click on that scholarship list, you will see a complete list of scholarships that have been added by Fairfax County. On that information, if you click on the name of the scholarship, it gives you the details. Right now, we're recruiting for the UVA Full Ride to UVA Jefferson Scholar. It is any senior who feels that they're top achieving, certain grade point average, certain SAT scores, can fill out the little self-nomination, turn it in to me. Every student who does turn in a self-nomination form will have an opportunity to interview with a panel of 3 counselors, Mrs. Howard, our Director of Student Services, and Mr. Thomas. And it's the same kind of interview that we go through at UVA. And then we will pick one nominee to represent Lake Braddock to go forward. So that information is there on the scholarship list. And it's updated sometimes daily, it's updated definitely weekly, and it will grow immensely as we go through the college admissions process. Okay, the About Me tab. There's some really good tools. The kids can write their goals, at the top left corner. Career interest profiler, they can explore careers. The game plan could be helpful in advertising scholarships or opportunities for the future. If the student has a certain, goal that they want to be a physician's assistant, and we have some medical scholarships, I might be able to do a search and send those kids those emails about those particular scholarships if they have it complete. You will find your child's profile will be the child's GPA. That is the current GPA at the end of their junior year. That will change after January, mid-February, when they have their 7 semester grades. And then it finally changes after they've completed their coursework after graduation. The test scores, the only scores that are stored in Family Connections are ACT and SAT. The SAT 2s are not stored there, and PSAT scores are not stored there. And it is the student's responsibility to send test scores to any college or university when they're applying to college. Paying for college. Words of wisdom, and I want to share this with you because every spring I have a parent walk into my office and say, tell them they can't go to that school, it's too much money. And I tell that parent, I'm sorry, that's not my job, that's your job as the parent. It is really important that you sit down and talk with your students about the college budget. We in Fairfax County have made it so easy for our kids to have everything. And I say we because I was guilty when I was in your shoes. And giving your child, we give them everything here. I mean, they have so many wonderful opportunities. The music lessons or, ultimate sports or, conditioning and all kinds of different things that they do. But sometimes the kids don't realize what it costs to go to college. The average cost to go to an in-state school ranges between $22,000 and $26,000 a year. That's room and board, books, transportation, everything. Now, if you choose to go to George Mason and live at home, it would be considerably about $10,000 less. So I think it's real important that you sit down and talk about what you have as a family and what you set aside, and so they understand the dollars and cents. Please do not let your child apply to a college knowing you can't afford it. You cannot guarantee financial aid. You can guarantee loans, which is part of financial aid, but nobody wants their child to graduate with $60,000, $70,000, or $100,000 in debt. So we will be giving you more information about financial aid. But every school has a net price calculator on their website. It's usually under financial aid. Go in and plug in your family's finances in that information. It will give you a good estimate of what you can anticipate getting for a financial aid package from that particular school. We will be hosting a financial aid program night on January 21st, 2015. That's at 6:30 and will be in the lecture hall. It's a little later than we've usually done it, but FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, is making some major changes, and we won't have that information in December like we've done in the past. So we have secured an excellent speaker from George Mason University he's from the financial aid office, who will talk to you not about GMU, he's going to talk about the financial aid process. So you're all welcome to attend. And we will also be hosting a fill in the FAFSA here at Lake Braddock on Monday, February 23rd. This will be myself and some of my colleagues in the county will be here to help you actually fill out the financial aid forms. So you can do it January 1, 2015. You can start and go online and do it. But please, if you need help, there'll be, if you can't come to ours, there are going to be FAFSA workshops, fill in the FAFSAs all throughout Fairfax County, and I will make sure that you have that information. So we're going to try to do our best to help you through that process. And there's lots of different ways. One of the things you have to pay attention to, when your child is applying to the college, they have deadlines for the application process, but they also have deadlines for financial aid. And in your packet that your child will receive tomorrow, there is all the information for the state of Virginia schools. Please follow the rules. Get your FAFSA completed. And even though you think you might not qualify for any federal aid, please complete your FAFSA. Think of it as a safety net. Because in this day and age, we know that sometimes hours are cut, jobs, pay cuts, people lose their jobs, downsizing. We want to make sure you have a safety net, because if your status of your family changes and your child is in the middle of college and you don't know what to do, the first thing you're going to do is go to the financial aid office. And the first question they're going to ask you is, did you complete a FAFSA? And I know this from firsthand experience from my daughter's senior year in college. And it helped us as a family. So if anybody wants any information about that, I'll be more than happy to talk with you. There's lots of ways to finance an education, and some of them are scholarships. This is the part that's really hard because the kids have to write additional essays. And this is where parents can come in. There's FastWeb, there's financial aid, there's FinAid, there's meritaid.com, and on the college itself's website, there are scholarship opportunities. I'm sorry, I forgot to click the slide. But this is all the different, you have it in your folder on the handout. So these are great resources, like for example, meritaid.com. If you plug in the state of Virginia, and it'll give you a complete list of all the colleges that are listed in Virginia, state and public, and it will tell you how many scholarships that particular school gives. So it could be JMU, and they have 25 scholarships, and if you click on JMU, they will give you the list of all the scholarships, if they're for freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool. So I urge you to, maybe parents, this would be a good thing for you to help the students with, managing the scholarships and weeding through them, and where the kids should be filling out the application and filling out the scholarship application. You can try to weed through and try to help them sort out which ones would be appropriate for them. So I can just give you these last parting words. We also want to talk about the community college opportunities and the college fairs opportunities. College fairs will be October 20th, 2014 at Fair Oaks Mall. If any of you attended last year, you saw that it was pretty crowded. Last year, accidentally, someone in Fairfax County sent a message to 7th through 12th grade. That is why it was so crowded. We have been reassured that will not happen this year. So, all I can tell you is I had no control over that, but it was done by Fairfax County Public Schools. But another night to come to is October 21st is at Hayfield Secondary. It's a wonderful, it's a smaller fair. They have maybe half the colleges, but they also have breakout sessions regarding financial aid, student athlete information, students in the arts, essay writing information. So this is a great way to come and get some added information. You can register on Fairfax County Public Schools FCPScollegefairs.com. You have to print out the pass because you'll be given a barcode on the pass. So instead of going up to the the school's table and you have to fill out a little card with your name, address that used to go on. Now they just scan your number and their information is saved for the college. So you don't have to sit there and waste time filling out cards. You can actually converse with the people. And we're really proud here at Lake Braddock that we started several years ago is a community college option. And we have over 27% of the class last year is attending NOVA. And we will be sponsoring a 2-day trip, April 9th and 10th. Students will have an option of attending one or the other. And we will help them navigate through the NOVA system. They will meet their first-year advisor. They will take the English placement test. And students will then take the math placement test here at Lake Braddock the following week. So they'll be registered with NOVA, they'll take their placement test, and some students, if they score a particularly high score on the SAT or ACT, are waived, they don't have to take the placement test. So we have found this to be really beneficial for our students. We usually take about 100 kids, and transportation will be provided and lunch will be provided. So, what I'd like to emphasize to you is don't wait till the last minute. Sit down and talk with each other about the budget. Try to visit as many colleges through the college visits. If you can't go to the campus, come to the Career Center. And don't be afraid to ask for help. We're here to help you and your child, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you. So, thank you.
Everyone, I'm Carol Morehouse. I'm the transcript assistant here at Lake Braddock, and I am only part-time, so many of you will probably never see me again, but you will probably see my inbox because this is the form that gets you all started on where your transcripts are going to go when you want to go to a college. None of us here, the counselors, Mrs. Edwards and Mrs. Howard, are mind readers. Students, please don't fall into the trap of saying, I've already applied to college X and they don't have my transcript. Guess what? It's not on this form. We didn't know you were applying there. So please, this is the form that is the stepping stone to getting your transcript and your recommendations to a college. It is important that you list, obviously, the colleges that you want to apply to. Don't wait till you've applied to a college to tell us this. Put down the colleges that you know for sure that you're going to apply to. We also need to know the city that this college is in because several colleges have multiple campuses. I really don't want to send it to Tampa when it should be going to Orlando, for example, in Florida. The most crucial part of this form is how are you applying to this college? We, again, can't read your mind. So are you applying early decision, which is a binding decision? Are you applying early action, priority? Some schools, like George Mason, have a scholarship deadline. VCU has a scholarship deadline. If that's how you're applying for the scholarship portion of that college, this is where you tell us scholarship and put the date in. If you're doing rolling does not have a deadline, and depending on what's included in the package, the counselor will get that out as quickly as they can. But again, please put in the type of admissions that you are planning to do to that college and the deadline date. I also need to have a parent signature and a student signature. If I don't see a parent signature on this form or a guardian signature, I'm going to be sending the form back to the student. Okay? The first 3 transcripts are free. That's what the NC stands for. Anything after that is $5 a piece. If you're on free and reduced lunch, there's no cost for additional transcripts. What does a transcript package actually include? Tomorrow, you all are going to be getting a folder from your counselors that's going to show you what your transcript looks like. It's going to show all of your classes that you've taken for high school credit, which may have started in middle school for some of you, and go through the end of 11th grade. What your final grade was for each one of those courses that you took and got credit for. It's also going to show your cumulative weighted GPA. It's then going to also include what classes are you currently taking now as a senior. Both of those sheets of paper will go to every college that you tell us that you want to apply to. We also include the Lake Braddock profile, and eventually the Fairfax County profile will be updated. Both of those will go, and they just explain more about the school, the county, the grading policy. The Lake Braddock profile is now on the website. If you'd like to go onto the website, it's on the home page in the bottom right-hand corner. If required for a school, the counselors will work with the students to do a secondary school report form. In most cases, we will use a Lake Braddock form, so please don't come in, print it out with a nice form from your college saying this is the form they want us to use. The one that Lake Braddock has developed is one that's accepted by all colleges. Some colleges may electronically send a school report form, such as South Carolina and the academies, in which case the counselors would fill that out. But for the most part, we are going to send a paper copy of a secondary school report form, which is basically a report card on different qualities of your student and an academic leadership qualities. Counselor and teacher recommendations, if required and asked for by your student, would also be included in that package, and then possibly a resume. As I said before, the first 3 transcripts are free. In Family Connection, which Mrs. Edwards has gone over, there's actually a place, which I'll show you the slide later, that shows you all the colleges you've told us that you wanted to apply to through that transcript release form. It calculates on there what you owe us. Please, I will email you if you owe us any money. Trust me, I will come find you if you owe us money. Unfortunately, Family Connection is a worldwide database. And because it's a worldwide database, it only gives us 3 free transcripts. So consequently, people that are on free and reduced, it's going to say you still owe us money. When I get into the scholarships and start giving your students scholarships, it's going to say you still owe us money. I will let you know if you owe me money. However, when you give me that transcript release form, if you've used up your first 3 free ones, I better see a check, money order, or cash for that one. Please staple the money or the check or the money order to your release form, or put it in an envelope. Okay, there's a lot of traffic in our office and I'm not there all day, so please staple it together so it all comes to me in one package. Additionally, there is a late fee. If you all do not turn in that release form that we showed you earlier before the deadline, there's a $5 transcript late fee for each transcript that you request after the transcript deadline. If you turn your form in tomorrow, but then add a school a little bit later, you're not late. That first form you turn in starts the clock. What does a transcript package look like? It's going to be a sealed, signed, and stamped transcript that goes in there. We do not send transcripts electronically. There are several schools in Fairfax County that are piloting this program, but right now we're using snail mail. And first quarter grades do not go on your transcript unless you've asked your counselor to put the first quarter grades on there. We ask that you give us, especially your counselors, 4-week processing time. That means turning that release form in 4 weeks before your first deadline. Now, I realize there's some schools out there that have 15 October deadlines. I'm not going to get those, and we realize that's an exception to the rule because we do start later in Fairfax County than some of our southern schools. But for 1 November, the late fees will be incurred. During holiday time, we also would like to have your transcripts a little bit earlier, the request, because the counselors don't get paid to work over Thanksgiving or winter break. I get many parents saying, well, why hasn't my transcript gone out? I turned it in 4 weeks ago. It all depends on your counselor and their prioritization. It also depends on the due date. If you turn yours in tomorrow, but it's not due until 1st January, it's probably not going to be the first one that your counselor works on to get out. This is the college deadlines. I'm not going to stay on this long because you all have it in your package. You also have it on the website. Okay, Mrs. Edwards went into this a little bit earlier. This is the tab in Family Connection. And again, I can't stress to you parents enough. Please get a Blackboard account so that you have access to the same information that your son or daughter does when it comes to colleges. Under the colleges, excuse me for my glasses, if you go to the highlighted portion that says colleges I've applied to, when you click on this one, It will show you all the colleges that are currently on your release form. There's some seats down here in the front if people are tired of standing, if they'd like to come down to the front. You will see the colleges listed. Once we send a transcript out, the status for that college will change from pending to initial material sent. So then you're going to say, well, how do I know what was sent? If you go into View Detailed Status, it will show you what did the counselor include in your package that was sent to the school. Was it just a transcript and a secondary school report form, or was there a teacher or a counselor recommendation? If a teacher sends a letter of recommendation via electronic, like for the Common App, that is not something that goes through our office, so we would not mark that on the form. It's strictly what we send out of Student Services. Additionally, if you go to transcripts under resources, you can actually see the date that this material was sent. At about the January or mid-February time frame, we will send your semester grades, and so it will change from initial material sent to mid-year grades sent. Fairfax County does not rank students. So if a college says, how are you ranked, what percentile are you in, you just have to put NA, because we do not rank our students. We also do not provide unweighted GPAs. It can be calculated, it's not that hard to do. If you need assistance, we can try and walk you through, but we strictly do not have enough time for 60 students to figure out each one of your unweighted GPAs, which is asked on some of the scholarships and some of the college information. Again, Mrs. Edwards said test scores. Students, you are responsible for getting your test scores to every college and NCAA that you're applying to. That is not something we do. Okay, and these are the different websites for College Board, SATs, ACTs, and NCAA. Probably have a lot of student athletes out here. If you're interested in applying for a Division I or Division II sport at a college, you need to register with NCAA. You can do this at any time of the year, but if you want to go on an official visit, which is when you get to go and you get to meet the team and watch them do a scrimmage or play a game and be entertained by the university and have an overnight with the university, you have to be registered with NCAA. They do not need to have your transcript at that time, but you do need to be registered. I would also recommend for any student athlete in here that's talking to coaches or thinking they want to participate in a sport at a college, come get a copy of your unofficial transcript. Make as many copies as you need to give to any coaches that you may be talking to. We really don't have the time to every time a coach comes into Lake Braddock to say, I need to go find Johnny and get a transcript to that coach. For those of you that are student athletes, if you do list NCAA on your transcript release form, that gives me the authority when a coach from a college calls and says, I'm interested in Johnny X. Can you send me his test scores and his unofficial transcript? It's the only time I can send your transcript without calling you is if you have NCAA on there. If you're a student athlete and don't want that privilege, please indicate that on your transcript release form. Okay, some of you have nicknames out there that you go by more than you go by your real names. I hope when you do your college application that you go by the formal name that's on your birth certificate. You don't know how many times I've had to call a college and they're like, nope, we don't have it for Johnny Smith. He's John Smith. Okay? You're going to get your folder tomorrow from your counselor. Please look at the name that's on your transcript and on that folder. That is your legal name according to the birth certificate that you registered here in Fairfax County. If it is not correct, you need to bring in a copy of your birth certificate to Mrs. Taylor as soon as possible. Otherwise, you may have a problem with college applications, and your diploma at the end of the year when you all graduate won't have the name that you really wanted on there. Work closely with your counselor. Not only do they have seniors, but they have underclassmen. I know each one of you think your son or daughter is the only person that they should be working with, but they've got about 60 other seniors that they also need to write recommendations and help out too. So as Mrs. Edwards said, work with us early, try to get all the information in. We're all here to help you, but please be early, okay? Student responsibilities, turn in that release form. Okay, the earlier you can get that in, the better. Last year, we sent over 3,600 transcripts out to colleges and scholarships. Just to give you a number, JMU last year received over 23,000 applications for 4,000 slots. If you're planning on requesting letter of recommendation, hopefully you've already turned in the parent-student questionnaire last year. If you haven't turned that in, I would recommend you do that as soon as possible. Both of those forms are also on the Lake Braddock website under the post-secondary planning guide. Resume and activities, the counselors need that as well. And any comment forms, these would go to the teachers that are going to provide input to your counselor to help them write a better letter of recommendation on your behalf. Complete and send your application to include any fees that are due, and the Lake Braddock CEB code that you'll need on the application is also there. Scholarships. Mrs. Edwards talked about scholarships. This is the form you will use if you're applying for a scholarship. You will fill this form out. It's pretty self-explanatory. We will give you 5 free transcripts, and then it's $5 for every transcript after that. You need to indicate on this form what the name of the scholarship is, and if you need a counselor recommendation or not. If you need a teacher one and the counselor has it, we can put that in. Please don't be like some students last year and in previous years where you've told your counselor you don't need a recommendation letter for college. You all of a sudden decide to apply for a scholarship and you're giving your counselor 2 days to write a letter. Folks, it takes time to write a nice, great recommendation. So please be courteous to your counselor. Look ahead and see what's required. Scholarships, student responsibility to pick these up off my desk, and student responsibility to mail them or get them to the appropriate point of contact, whether it be here, someone in the school, or mailing it to the right destination. Are you all a little overwhelmed yet? Okay, Mrs. Edwards and I and your counselors will all be emailing you via Blackboard. It really helps if students and parents have the correct email addresses in both those places. I will not send an email to a child without emailing their parents if the parents are also listed. This is a team effort getting you all through the senior year. And it really helps, I think, if parents have an email address as well as the students. PTSA newsletter, Blackboard, Twitter, you name it, we've got it. Keep in touch. Okay, that concludes our formal portion of the briefing. This is the